There's a skill that you must have without which you cannot be a leader. There's a skill that you must cultivate without which you can't be a leader. And that skill is often neglected. Some of us may even have it, but we never apply it to the quest that we have to become leaders. Everybody wants to become a leader. They are attracted by different things. Most of the times, the things that make that position of leadership glamorous. But there is more to becoming and being and playing the role of a leader than all of that stuff. I want to share with you today on Leadership in 30 Minutes on a skill that you must stop neglecting if you want to become a true leader, if you want to develop the capacity to lead. I laid the foundation on Leadership Monday a couple of days ago. I'm going to be speaking, deeper on that subject today. And I want you to come along with me. So you know my name, your anchor on Leadership in 30 Minutes. My name remains Olatunji Shobodu, the CEO and founder of Emet Leadership Academy, where leaders are nurtured based on truth. Leaders are nurtured based on truth. So all that you're going to hear today, they are simply the truth. And I hope that, the truth will stand well, okay, for you, and you won't be one of those who do not have the capacity to embrace the truth. But, whether you have the capacity or not, hopefully you develop the capacity. That's what we're committed to. Leadership nurtured by truth. Leadership nurtured by truth. So very quickly, I'll be speaking on, stop neglecting this unusual skill. Stop neglecting this unusual skill. If you want to become a true leader, you have to follow a leader. To become a leader, you have to follow a leader. There are no shortcuts. You must have served under a leader. You must have submitted yourself, all right, to the training by a leader. And hopefully, you submitted yourself, to a true leader as well. Because every leader, whether true, whether false, whether bad, whether good, they are going to produce after their kind. A good tree will produce good fruit. A bad tree will produce bad fruit. For avoidance of doubt, a good tree will never produce bad fruit, and a bad tree will never produce good fruit. All right? So you must understand that. But in order to become a leader, albeit good or bad, and I hope for your sake, good, one who knows to do leadership right, you must follow a leader. Now, this skill that we're talking about is a skill that you need to develop, all right, to engage during the following phase. It's the following phase that makes you into a leader, ultimately. So this is a skill that you don't have it when you become a leader. You develop it because it's one of the things that helps you to become a leader. It's one of the things that helps you to become a leader. All right. And I want to draw my illustration today. As we often do, our source of truth is the Bible, is the scriptures. And I want to draw my illustration from, a parable that many of us know. All right. Too many of us know. whether you're a believer or you're not a believer, you must have had this parable before. It's referred to as the parable of counting the cost. And I refer to it as the parable of the Tower project, the parable of the Tower project. And you would understand why. You find it in Luke 14, I believe it is. You find it 14. And all right, so let's look at it there. What does it say? Luke 14 and verse 20. Let me start from verse 26. And Jesus was talking here. He said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Meaning that he can't follow me and he cannot become like me. That is, he can become a leader like me. And verse 27, and whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Now he then trying to illustrate, how critical the statements he just made were. He then went on to talk about this, to speak this parable, and used a building construction illustration. He said, for which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king does not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. I love that illustration about the building. And it interested me, indeed intrigued me, because Jesus was using, a building project to illustrate a leadership requirement, a leadership concept, the concept of following a leader. Now, he said, it cannot be my disciple, means if you are not my disciple, you can't become a leader, all right? The job of a leader is to train you to become a leader like himself. And the requirement is that you must be my disciple. Being my disciple it comes with condition. He described it, said, look, you have to place me at the topmost priority of your life. Said you have to hate father, mother, and all of that. I spoke about that in the video on Monday. Please check out that video on Monday, on Leadership Monday. I think I called the caption Leader in Limbo. Leader in Limbo. All right, so check that out on my site and you can get a lot more insight into the emphasis that I laid there. So this is what he was saying, that you want to be a leader, you have to be a disciple. It's a requirement. Without being a leader, it's impossible to be a disciple. And to be a disciple is not just to follow. It's a big deal. All right, as you can see what it entails. You have to give up so much. And much of that, the average person doesn't want to give. The average person will be wondering, what's the big deal about, submitting to a leader, working with a leader? I mean, we can do this together without me having to do all of this. They said, no, the requirements are not negotiable. The requirements are not negotiable. So I want us to take a look at this and look at it from, and this parable reveals to us the vital skill. It says you want to build a tower. So it is the follower, it is the one who is the disciple who wants to build a tower, who must look at the tutelage of the leader, the journey to becoming a leader. You must look at it as an intentional project. You must look at it as a building project. It is a building project. You follow because you want to become. He said, follow me and I will make you. So you follow because you want to be made. Stop following. Don't commit to any leader if you are not going somewhere, if you don't have an expectation of where the influence and the input of that leader into your life is going to take you. So that leader you are following, where is it taking you? Where is it taking you? It's very important. Until you are sure where the leader is taking you, how far you can go with the leader, what you expect to benefit from the leader, you can't follow. All right? You shouldn't commit. Otherwise, you may be setting yourself up, for a tough bargain. So following a leader is to be seen also by the follower as a building project. And notice, everybody is a leader, everybody is a follower. All right? Every leader is following somebody. Okay, or at least ought to be following somebody. Okay, so following is a building project. And it's not an ordinary building project. It says if you are following a leader, to show you how serious this matter is, he said it's like building a tower. A tower is not a bungalow. A tower is not a one-story building. It's not even a 2 or 3-story building. A tower would typically, especially in today's world, be multiple-story building. It's a major project. It's a major project. So following a leader is to be seen as a major project, a major endeavor. And that's not something that you embark upon carelessly. It's not something that you do nonchalantly. It's not something that you are casual about. It tells you, if you know, and you can find out from those who have built towers, it takes a lot from them. It takes a lot. All right? It takes a lot, and not just in terms of resources. In fact, for all you know, the resources may be the least of the challenges. Yes, the resources are important, but there are other things that it will take for you to accomplish that project. So if you've ever thought following a leader or serving under a leader is piece of cake, then you have no understanding of what it truly takes. And no wonder many follow leaders and they get nothing from it. The first thing that you need to check is what's been your attitude to the leader. What's been? Have you truly followed? Have you qualified as a disciple? Because until you qualify as a disciple, that project cannot be completed. You would never get to the point where you see the tower standing. The tower standing is you becoming a leader, is you exhibiting all that is required of a good leader. So I love the fact that, the leader-follower relationship is being expressed in the context as a building project. Now, notice the leader is not the owner of the project. The owner of the project is the follower. That shows the importance, the relative importance of the parties. Both parties are important, but the follower must know that he or she has a greater stake because he or she is the one trying to accomplish something. As it were, the follower is securing the help, the input, the assistance of the leader to make them become, more valuable than they are. The follower is looking to benefit vitally from a leader. That's how it is always. That's how it is always. So let's go on. So what's this skill that we are talking about? Well, when you want to build a project, what skill is a project? A building project. I want to build a tower. So the skill requirement is pretty simple. It's a project management skill. It's project management skill. Project management skill. That's why I was saying that there are some of us who may even be certified as project managers, but we still find it difficult to follow a leader, to benefit from leadership. Isn't that a shame? I mean, how can you, all right, be certified as a project manager? How can you have project management skills and you're unable to take full advantage of what leadership has to offer you? All right, because you would agree with me that if you have the understanding that following a leader is a building project, then what you need is project management skill. Then it should be easier for you. It should be much easier for you as a project manager, than for me. All right. So that is the skill, and we often neglect it. We neglect it big time. We neglect it. Now, in this, arrangement, the builder of the building, of the tower, interestingly, is the leader. The leader is the one who's going to supply everything. All right. All that you need to become a leader, the leader is the one who has responsibility to supply them. So you are securing the services of the leader, all right, to help you build the tower. The tower now is building you into a leader, into a bona fide leader. So who are you? You are the project owner. You are the one who owns the project. You own the project, not the leader. It's the mistake many made. That's why I love this illustration, by Jesus. You own the project. You want to become the disciple, you own the project. You are the one to fulfill the requirements. You are the one who wants to benefit from the leader. You are the one who needs to become a leader like your leader. You are the project owner. And what does the project owner supply? The project owner, all right, conceives. The project owner makes the resources available. He doesn't necessarily build. He doesn't have what it takes to build. He has to rely on the builder to supply every other thing. All right. So it's good that both parties know exactly, what their roles are. Now, what is this? How do you put this skill to use for this purpose? How do you put this skill to use for this purpose? And I'm going to share with you 5 steps that will help you to make the most, all right, of your relationship with the leader. There are 5 steps that will help you to complete this tower project. There are 5 steps that will help you, all right, to cultivate this project management skill. If you like, it's project management skill, all right, in practice. Step number 1, of course, is keeping the project in view. It's keeping the project in view. Understanding exactly what you are about to sign yourself up for. Understanding what you're about to sign yourself up for. All right. So you are being posted to a new department. All right. You are deciding to work with somebody. All right. Somebody's appointed to preside, to supervise you. All right. So in all of those cases, there is a leadership relationship in view. Somebody's asking you to come and join him. Jesus asked his guys, follow me and I will make you. All right. They had to put that project in view. You put that project in view. This is a leadership relationship, all right, that is in view. It's an offer, all right, to be developed into a leader, to become a leader, just like the one who is inviting you or who is being put over you, or whose team you're about to join. Keep that project in view. All right. So you know exactly that it's a leadership project. There are two key people that will be involved, the leader and yourself. And you understand, all right, that there is great benefit offered. And basically, the benefit is that the leader is going to make you into whoever he or she is. The additional thing that you need to note about that is that as a good leader, you will become, you will be able to accomplish much more than that leader, because when a good leader succeeds in reproducing you as a leader, part of the empowerment you get is that you will do greater works. Jesus called it greater works. You would accomplish a lot more. That's part of the capacity that will be built in you. All right. Now, step 2, you need to sit down. You see, he said you need to sit down first. Now that you have this leadership relationship in view, now that you have this offer, now that you have this prospect of becoming a leader, what does it entail? You must address. Sit down. What does it entail? Sit down. That is, consciously consider what you're about to get into. Consciously consider what you're about to get into. Spend some time thinking about it, asking to understand it, wanting to know all the angles to it. It's a tower. It's a big deal. Don't approach it casually. Sit down first. Sit down first. Sit down first. Give thought to this relationship that you want to get into. It's serious. Think about it. Meditate upon it. Ask questions. Gather as much information as you can. What does it? What is the nature of this relationship? It says sit down. And in sitting down, then we move to step 3. Count the cost. Count the cost. Count the cost. When you conceive of, a project like the building of a tower, all of us know it's going to look beautiful. We know the end. It's the easiest thing to do. The architect will put the structure on paper. It looks beautiful. It is the easiest part of the project to conceptualize. When you see a leader, you have a good sense of what you are likely to become. All right? But you are being warned. Don't get carried away with that. Like the project manager that you are or ought to be, sit down and look at the other side. There are 2 sides to it. Usually 2 sides to everything. There is the output, but the output, the facade, the tower that is standing, who you become as a leader at the end of your interaction with another leader is determined by what you put into it. So there is the input. It's an input-output model thing when it comes to building a project. And since leadership is about building a project, there is input and output as well. So you have seen what you could become as a leader. You have seen the leader, all right? You can observe the leader in different dimensions, under different circumstances. But don't get carried away by the end without looking at the input. it is going to cost you. There's a cost. There is a cost. Now, one of the, clear things, the clearest messages in the parable that Jesus gave is that there is a cost to following. A huge cost. And you must sit down, count that cost, make sure that you understand it. Make sure that you understand the cost. There is a cost to following a leader. There is a cost. You must pay. You must bear that cost if you want to become a leader. Nobody becomes a leader without bearing that cost. If you find a leader, please know that they bore a huge cost to attain that status, to qualify to lead. Because the same way that leadership is presented to you as a building project, that's how it was for them. All right? It is like that for everyone if you're truly focusing on leadership development. That's how it is. You must count the cost. There is a cost that is associated with it. And so that you know whether you have what it takes to see the project through, whether you can actually give this project all the cooperation that is required to see that building, which is you, become or be turned into a leader. There's a cost. There's a cost. And that's why I keep saying, if following a leader does not cost you anything, it's time to change that leader. It's time to get out from under that leader. You will never become a leader of worth without a cost, without discomfort, without paying a huge price. The road to leadership is not paved with gold. And if you bother, and you would find out, because if you are following a true leader, they will share with you some of the things that they went through to become who they are. All right? So you count the cost, and then you have to decide. You have to decide. Notice that all of these are things you have to do before you qualify as a disciple. Before you are qualified as a disciple. Before the more serious aspect of following commences, which is the discipleship. You have to decide. What's the decision to make? Haven't counted the cost. Haven't known that this is what following a leader is going to take from me. Do I have what it takes? Am I ready to give it what it takes? Look, he said, you have to hate everybody. Hate in quotes. All right? It's not hatred in that sense. It's simply talking about prioritizing, the people in your life. That your leader has to be placed at a, top priority level. That's what he's saying. Can you do that? Can you do that? All right. It's counting the cost. Take your cross and follow. Are you ready to take some insult? You may regard it as insult. Are you ready to bear the truth? All right. Are you willing to accommodate the inconveniences that will be involved in following a leader? Are you ready, all right, to accept to do something that you don't understand, but because the leader has said so? Are you ready to yield ground, to the leader? Are you ready to obey constituted authority? There's a lot that is involved. So if you decide that, yes, I have what it takes, then you are ready. If you feel that you don't have what it takes, then you do what those guys did to Jesus. They left him. They had been following him up to a time. Obviously, they were still counting the cost. He didn't regard them as disciples. Yet, they had not qualified, although they were going on with him. But they weren't going to benefit anything from him. Certainly not become leaders like him until they crossed that hurdle to become disciples. So many people are following, in inverted commas, but there are only few that are disciples. That's why it always says, many are called, but few were chosen. Many are called, but few were chosen. All right. A lot of people were following him, but he had only 12 disciples. He qualified them. There were people who had counted the cost and were ready to pay it. Because when some people left him, he turned to them and he said to them, do you guys want to leave as well? You are free to leave. And they said to him, where are we going? To whom will we go? Say, you have the words of eternal life. We know the reason we're following you. We have counted the cost. Peter said somewhere, he said, Lord, we have left all to follow you. They fulfilled the condition. They left all to follow him. And he told them, if you leave all, this building project will be completed. You will become like me. And you'll be able to do greater things than I have even done. And they did precisely that. They did precisely that. So you decide, and that decision is either to follow or to leave. I'm hoping that when you do count the cost, you will come to the conclusion that you can pay it. You prepare yourself to pay it. And therefore, beyond that, you commit yourself fully to the leader. You commit yourself fully. You really take up your cross and follow. You commit yourself fully to the leader. I'm hoping that that's what you will do. That's what you will do. Now, those are the steps. That skill you need to develop. These steps you need to engage in every relationship that you're about to get into with a leader. Stop treating the leadership relationship with levity. Your life is involved. Make the most of it. Be sure who you want to follow. Understand that this is a tower building project, and commit yourself. Follow the process. It's okay. By the way, if you count the cost and you discover you are not ready, you can't pay it. You can't give to the leader what he wants. It's okay. So you avoid being mocked. You avoid ridicule. You avoid, just starting off with the foundation, only to become stranded. That's part of what Jesus was saying. He said, look, if you don't want to, don't start the project. There's no ridicule in that. You didn't start a project. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. But if you start it, then you expose yourself to risk of non-completion. He says, whatever you start, please make sure that you have prepared yourself enough to complete. All right? So you are not under obligation to follow a leader. Indeed, to commit to a leader. No. Just as you are not under obligation to embark on a building project. But if you are serious about training yourself to become a leader, and you understand that that can only be done by serving under a leader, by putting your hands your life in the hands of a leader, by looking up to a leader and committing to a leader, then you need to follow this process. And many of us over the course of life will work with many leaders. We work with many leaders. Each one is to be seen as building a project. It's the offer to build a project, the opportunity, if you like, to build a project. And it's up to you whether you want to commit or not. But in order for you to commit, you must know what it entails. And from leader to leader, the cost will vary. The cost will vary because what each leader has to offer varies. And therefore, the building project, the towers vary. It may be more costly to follow me than to follow another leader. If I have more to offer you, my tower is more beautiful, all right, contains a lot more facilities and all of that, be rest assured that it's going to cost you more than somebody else who is just giving, a basic tower that doesn't have too many features or amenities. That's how to look at it. All towers are not the same. So that is, you need to bear that in mind. Okay, I'm going to stop there for today. All right. So you know the skill, project management skills. You need it to develop yourself into a leader. And I've, hopefully convinced you and not confused you about how to apply it in this particular instance. Hopefully, I've been able to do that. And let me just round up by, calling your attention. The next boot camp, Equip boot camp, is 40 days of developing, your capacity to excel. It's going to start on the 1st of May. You want to use the link, on scrolling on your screen to secure your seat at that at the boot camp. It's 40 consecutive days of building you up, all right, into one with the spirit of excellence. It's a one in a lifetime adventure. 40 consecutive days of deep practical insights of what it takes to excel and to be successful in whatever it is you are doing in life. to be my pleasure to lead you. I look at it like the 40 days that Jesus undertook under the tutelage of the Holy Spirit. And he came out of those 40 days, so to speak, ready for his mandate. When you go through these 40 days and you come out, it's a new lease of life for you, a new phase of life entirely. One where people will acknowledge that the Spirit, an excellent Spirit, is in you, just like they did for Daniel, and of course, in the case of Jesus. So come with me, check out the link in the description. I look forward to welcoming you to that class, to that boot camp. 40 days that will pass like a jiffy, but one that you would never forget the remaining days of your life. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day and check out other videos. Subscribe if you have not yet done so, and share the link. Introduce others. If this has been a blessing to you, if my over 200 videos, offer anything to you, let others share in it. That is living life indeed and in truth. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.